What's up everyone, Tech Me Out here, and I am delighted to be back with episode 4 of The Perfect Setup. Now this particular setup was made by me, and I call it From Another Galaxy. So without any further ado, let's talk about how I got this particular look. So I'm first taking a look at my lock screen here. I have a couple of tweaks installed. The first one being Hide Me 8, which allow me to hide certain elements such as my status bar and my clock that's typically shown here, which in turn focuses on this unique high definition wallpaper. The wallpaper will be linked down below for all of you that are interested in grabbing that. And then down here at the bottom, I'm using a theme, which gives me pretty much what I need when I want to look at my lock screen, which is the time and the date. And this was done with a tweak known as LockHTML4. And the particular theme that I have down there is known as LS Battery Bar. Now everything I'm mentioning is going to be down below in the description box, and the settings for these tweaks will be linked on my website, which will be down below in the description box as well. So if I take my finger and swipe to the right here, you'll see my passcode screen has also been themed. So I have a little quote up here that may look familiar from my other Perfect Setup episodes, but this was done with HotDog so that it can say, "Let the games begin." Beneath it, I installed Faces Pro to basically theme these buttons to be blue, and I used SimplePasscodeButtons to get rid of the numbers that are normally shown here. Down here in the bottom corners, I have Help and Erase, which was also changed with HotDog. I think that about sums it up for my lock screen and passcode screen. Something else that allowed me to have the perfect setup is something that I haven't talked about lately because I haven't been rocking one in the past few weeks, and that is my case here that I have on my phone. So the case that I'm using is the silicone case by Apple, and I will be doing a review on this case in comparison to the older cases that were out prior to this one, so stay tuned for that. Something that I almost forgot to mention is in regards to my lock screen, and that is my notifications. So I'm running Priority Hub to get the notifications to appear, where I can just tap on the icon in the top center, and if I tap on it again, it gets rid of it. Tap on it once more and it allows me to view the notifications here. So that's Priority Hub. I'm also using Watch Notifications to give me this type of look for when my notifications come in. And as far as the color for those notifications, that was done with color banners. So I'm running a few things to get this particular look when notifications come into my phone. Now moving on to my home screen, the beauty of theming. So let's start with the top section here. This was done with Wink, which allows me to be able to hide my status bar and then tap on it when I need it, which I really like because sometimes you don't want to see what's up there in terms of the date, the time, and your battery life, and other times you do. But thankfully, in conjunction with that, when that is hidden, I have this eye widget installed here. This particular eye widget was done with Zooboy 8, I believe is what the theme is called. So I have eye widgets, and then I have that particular theme installed so that I can get this particular widget here. Now above that widget, in terms of my icons, the theme for those icons is known as Infinity Scripts. And I really love this particular theme because I'm a fan of the Gotham theme. And if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, I'm gonna annotate a link in the video for you to check out the Gotham theme that I'm speaking of. But in essence, to me, what this particular theme does is it takes Gotham and it gives you color, which I love because sometimes the Gotham icons are so small and so simple, they all start to look the same. So this gives you a little remix on the Gotham theme, and this is known as Infinity Script. Also looking here at my home screen, you'll notice that I don't have any icon labels, and that was done with NoIconLabels. I also have Springtomize 3 installed to adjust the padding between the icons so that there's a little bit less space than normal in between them. And then swiping over to my second page, this icon here that looks like it's just a single icon is actually a folder. And this is where I pretty much tossed in all of the other icons that were not themed because it doesn't look good on the home screen when everything else is themed except those things. So I use FolderEnchancer and I customized the icon layout to 1 by 1 so that when you're looking at the folder, it only shows you one icon, but when you tap on it, it shows you all of the folders inside. And that was done with FolderEnchancer. And taking a look at these icons in the bottom corners, the badges are a little bit different than what they would normally be. And that was done with Badgomizer. So I changed the shape to a triangle, made them real small, and adjusted the position of them. The settings for that particular tweak, once again, like everything else, will be down below and linked to my website. Moving on down to my dock, I have a couple of things installed to get this look. The first one being DockColor to adjust the color of my dock. I also have Apex 2 installed so that when I swipe up on an icon, it will reveal other icons that are attached to it, much like a hidden folder in my mind. And I have that for each one of these. So that's why that little line is appearing above the icon, pretty much to signify that there are more applications in association with that one. Also from my home screen, if I were to swipe all the way from the left-hand side here to the right, it will pull up something known as InstaLauncher. So this is pretty much your shortcut to all of your applications, where you can hover over a letter and it'll take you to those applications. But what you saw when I originally pulled that up, let me go back to my home screen, was my favorites. So these are applications that I set that I wanted quick access to at all times. So you can customize this in terms of the way it looks, as well as what applications appear here. And then when you want to get to the rest of them, you just drag your finger over these and it will pull up the rest of the applications. The next thing I've themed on my phone is my control center. So if I swipe up from the bottom, you'll see that this looks drastically different like everything else on my phone. And this was achieved with a few things. One being CC Clean, to allow me to clean up the way everything looks in here, in addition to CC Scale to resize all of my icons down here. And Simple Centers, I believe, was used to hide certain elements from my control center, and Flip Control Center was used to add certain toggles and apps down here that are normally not there, such as Flux, which is one of my favorite applications because this is what I use when I'm looking at my phone at night. What Flux does is it adjusts the color of your screen here so that it looks better and easier on the eyes rather at night. And you really don't know how much of a difference this makes until you start using it and then you don't have it anymore. So definitely check out Flux. It might be something you're interested in. Something else that's installed down here is Corners, which gives me those rounded edges of my control center. Springtomize 3 was used to change the color from whatever it is normally to this beautiful blue. Floater gave me this floating control center so that it's not attached or touching the bottom as it normally would be. And then I also use Hide Me 8 Light, I believe, to hide certain elements from my control center as well. And for the most part, I think that is it that I have installed here. Moving right along, if I swipe down from my notification center, I have a few tweaks installed up here. The first one being Springtomize 3 to adjust the background color of this section. I also have Simple Centers to pretty much change the order of what normally is shown here, and to also customize it so that certain elements are not visible that normally would be. So I have a few widgets installed on my Today tab to give me this particular look that you see here. The first one up here is known as Battery Doctor. And this will allow me to see how much time I have remaining on my battery and also clear up the memory so my phone runs faster. Beneath that, we have Be Weather 2, which gives me a detailed forecast of what the weather is currently here. So as you can see, lots and lots of rain. Moving on down, we have Snap Stats, which gives me detailed information about my phone, my network, my battery, my RAM, CPU, all of that stuff for all of the tech geeks and nerds out there that want to know the real detailed specifications of their phone. And down below that, we have Data Meter, which gives me information in regards to my Wi-Fi and the data and all of that jazz that's being processed on my phone. So those are the extra widgets that I have installed here that are not the default ones. And that's really it for my notification center. Moving right along, another area that I changed on my phone is my messages. So I have a dark layout here for my message inbox, which was done with Messages Customizer. So in looking at my conversations, you'll notice this particular page has also been tweaked out. So if I tap here and get ready to send a message, you'll notice that the send icon has changed, and that was done with Floater. So that'll let you choose a number of different symbols to be put here instead of the typical text that is normally found there. My keyboard has also been altered, and that was done with a few tweaks. One being Color Your Keyboard, which allowed me to adjust the color of it, and also New Keys, which got rid of the background and the lines that are typically shown in between the letters that you can type with. For those of you that are curious about the font, that is done with Bita Font 2, and the particular font there is Just the Way You Are. So I really like it because it looks like handwriting, but it's still displayed in a way that I can make out what I'm looking at. And for the most part, I believe that is it that I've done here. Two other things in my messages application that are themed is the line here that appears beneath the messages that are sent and received, and that was done with Saber. Also, in taking a look at my keyboard, you'll notice that there are numbers above each letter, and that was done with Swipe Expander. Moving right along, my settings page has also changed, and this was done with circle icons to get rid of the icons that is typically found to the left of your options here. You'll probably notice that certain things that are typically grouped together are no longer grouped together, and they have been shifted to other areas of my phone. And this was done with transference, and it's pretty neat because you just swipe down. Let me try it again. And then it puts it in a mode where you can edit things. I can drag things out of groups. I can create gaps. And then when I'm finished, I just double tap and it saves the changes that I've made. So I'll probably be doing a review on that. Taking a look at the top of my screen, I have type status installed here, which allows you to see when somebody's typing back to you, even though you're not in the conversation. And looking at the top of the screen here again, we have Tiny Bar, and this shrinks down the banner that normally appears at the top of your screen, so that way it doesn't take up space on everything else. When I double press my home button, my multitask switcher has also been themed, and this was done with Grid Switcher. So it gives me this nice little layout so I can see more things at once to close them out or switch between them. But that concludes everything in terms of what I can think of that I use to achieve what I call the perfect setup. However, if you notice something that I didn't touch on, please drop that down below in the comment section and I'll do my best to address your questions. Please be sure to follow the links below if you're curious what settings that I use for these tweaks that I have installed. And if you enjoy this video and for whatever reason you have not already hit that like button, please go ahead and do so now before you leave this video. I greatly appreciate the support. And as always, thanks for taking the time out to let me tech you out.